What's up, Earth Rockers? What's up, Earth Rockers? It's your boy Shovatar, back again with another video. My last commentary that I recorded for this game was kind of, I was severely sleep deprived, so I may have been somewhat incoherent. And I'm never like 100% cogent anyway, I don't think. So I apologize if the last commentary like didn't make any sense or was very scattered, but that was just a result of my condition at the time. And I'm going to try to be more coherent with this one in talking about. Most of what I remember saying in my last commentary was just that like it sucks that Richter can't move, and I'm going to try not to harp on that again. Except I mean I'm just going to mention it once. Richter's walk speed is slow and it ruins the entire game. Curiously, in a way that it doesn't for Belmont's Revenge, and I'm not sure why. I think it's just because Belmont's Revenge was much easier overall in general and had less and incorporated less platforming. So I think that's why. And Belmont's Revenge like didn't really have any like complicated combat. With Dracula X, they tried to bring enemies and bosses directly from Rondo of Blood into Dracula X, while without maintaining the movement speed from Rondo of Blood, and that's sort of where the problems come in. Like this chase here with the behemoth like chasing you, the behemoth has to move extremely slowly because you move extremely slowly. And this like, I mean, the backdrop of the burning town is all right, I guess, but it feels less like a town because there's less like detail in the actual level itself. Something that I want to mention real quick, I didn't really talk about anything specific that was happening in my last commentary because my brain wasn't working and I was just complaining about the game in general. This first boss is extremely frustrating because it's very rare that I'll die on this boss because level 1 is easy, so you're probably going to go into it with full health and you're not going to take that much damage. What just happened there with like the short jump? So like sometimes the boss will jump short, and then sometimes it'll jump long. And right there you saw it do first jump short and then jump long from more or less what seems like the same position to me. And I don't understand what makes it do that or what the pattern is. So the consequence is that I feel like I frequently take damage on that boss without knowing why or how I could have prevented it. Like there are times when I have no damage to that boss, but I don't know how I did it. I don't know why the boss didn't do what I expected it to do, or why it did what I expected it to do in those situations. So that first boss is annoying in that regard. But fortunately, I don't think I've ever died to it, because it comes after an easy level and it doesn't do that much damage. This part here, coming up with level 2, is a great example of like basically when I knew this game was going to be a problem. And it's the collapsing bridge coming up with the fish people jumping. So the fact that you walk so slowly means that you constantly want to be jumping forward to like get a move on. But if you don't do exactly what I'm doing here, like if you don't like jump in those exact spots, if you jump and then try to jump a second time, you'll jump into one of the fishmen. But you can't just walk the whole way because your walking speed is too slow and the bridge will collapse. So you have to do this very specific sequence of walking and then jumping in order to get over that bridge. And like, I died like so many times there when I first got there because I'd like jump and then I jump again and then a fishman would jump out and kill me. And I said, okay, I guess I shouldn't jump there. So I'd jump and then walk and kill the fishman. Then I'd like jump again and then a fishman would jump up and kill me. And I was like, what the fuck is this game? Like why are you doing this? I thought to myself, how the fuck am I ever gonna do a Deathless run of this? But fortunately, the bridge does have a consistent pattern that you can just learn. But I don't understand why that's necessary. Like, why don't you just have a fucking regular collapsing bridge? Because there's a collapsing bridge kind of like that in Chronicles. And what they do in Chronicles is they have Medusa heads coming after you. That's also a situation where you have to specifically jump. You have to like jump at certain times to survive, because you have to either jump over the Medusa heads or kill them, or like jump and kill them. But the big difference is that with the Medusa heads, you can actually fucking see them coming, unlike with the fish guys who literally jump up out of nowhere. And the Medusa heads come at you in like a set pattern, so you can sort of anticipate their arrival. With that bridge and with the fish people, it's just like you have to memorize a sequence of jumping that does not have any visible indicators um, of when you should be doing that. You just have to like remember it. And I mean, I guess I'm glad it's learnable. I'm glad it's not literally random, but it doesn't need to even be. It doesn't need to be as frustrating as it is in the first place. And here, yeah, I just item crash because I can't fucking stand those things. I don't know. I like trying to fight those things on like stairs like that when there's like one of them up in front of you and one of them behind you is just really annoying. Okay, here I actually do manage to backflip over. This is another boss that I never really understood. Like I guess the idea is that you're supposed to hit it and then get away from it like that. But sometimes the way in which the bats come out, it's either like, yeah, okay, like this right here, they're like under the floor and I can't hit them. Or I can't like get away from them in time. Like if I can't backflip over them, look at that shit. I'm almost fucking dead. Like I feel like nothing happened. I feel like the boss like didn't do anything the entire fight and I'm almost dead. I backflip into the orb, which is cool, but like I just don't get it. Because I mean I don't like because you can't get like you can't move. Like you can't evade it. If it starts swooping around, it takes up so much of the screen. You like have to hit it whenever it's available to be hit, or else it'll just like swoop into you, or like shoot a fucking fireball at you that you can't dodge because you can't move. And then if you let it do that, you're just gonna get hit. So you like have to hit it all the time. But if you hit it in a bad position, you are just like put in this fucking weird situation where the bats like can't be dodged. I don't know. I hate that boss. Almost, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, almost all the bosses in Dracula X are like that, where it ends up being, even though the bosses aren't like designed like this, because half of the bosses are from Rondo, where the bosses in Rondo are explicitly designed to have like attack patterns that you can react to and dodge so that you don't get hit. And I know this for a fact because Rondo Blood had no damage bonuses at the end of every level, meaning that it was meant to be hypothetically possible or like doable to complete a boss encounter without taking damage based on your personal skill and your level of familiarity with it. But in Dracula X, a lot of the boss fights end up feeling more like Super Castlevania 4 boss fights, which are like, did you get to the boss with full health or didn't you? It just becomes like a damage race instead of an attempt to actually interact with the boss, because your ability to react to what the boss does is so feeble because you can't move. I know I said I wasn't going to keep harping on that, but it keeps coming up as I'm discussing the specific things that happen in this game. And I don't know, maybe it's not like if you don't get what I mean when I say that Richter can't move, like watch footage of Rondo and then watch footage of this, like back to back, and you will instantly see what I'm talking about. Or fuck, like just watch like Super Castlevania 4 and then watch this. Watch like any other Castlevania game except for Belmont's Revenge and see how fast you move, and it's faster than this. Of all of the elements of challenge from old Castlevania to reincorporate into the game that they felt like, I guess, Rondo of Blood didn't have, this is the most baffling one to incorporate. And again, I don't know if it was like a technical limitation or what, but I mean, if it was, then I guess that's the only reason I would ever consider to be even vaguely acceptable. But that also begs the question of why was this game even made? You know what I mean? Like, if you can't make a game, then don't make it. I mean, not that this isn't a game. It's not like I would describe Castlevania the Adventure as not a game. Like Castlevania the Adventure is not a game. It's just like it's like a CIA like MK Ultra experiment. In like frustration. That's what Castlevania the Adventure is. It's not like a real game. This is at least a real game. And I should point out what's happening here, actually. So this is the good ending. It's not the best, it's not the bad ending, and it's not the best ending. It's the good ending. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to rescue Maria, but I'm not going to rescue Annette. And rescuing Maria means getting to normal normal level. What level am I on? Normal level 4, which means actually successfully completing this little platforming section with the pillars. Um, and like normally, I would say, oh well, at least this is actually interesting. I'm hitting the turrets from off screen with the axe. The axe can actually hit them when they're not on the screen. I just wanted to point that out real quick to explain what I was doing. And that's not like an aspect ratio thing. That's like they're just not there. Um, uh, yeah, you have to. I would normally compliment this section for not being like insta-kill death pits, but they fundamentally are insta-kill death pits if you're trying to get anything but the worst ending. And so that's why I pick up a key here. It means I have to fight the Dullahan boss without any sub-weapon, because I need the key to take into the next level to rescue Maria. Um, so that's what's going on here. The Dullahan, fortunately, is sort of redesigned around Richter's new movement speed, where it seems like the Dullahan doesn't do things as quickly as he used to. I think there is more of like a wind-up in his actions. Yeah, and he does the jump more. It doesn't really do the thrust so much. I haven't seen him do the thrust once so far, actually. And I don't think he does like the throw his head at you attack at all. I think what he was gonna do there was do like the rocks falling from the sky, which is another which because you're not intended to fight this guy with an item crash. You're intended to fight this guy with the key because this is the way to the. Well, that's not necessarily true, but I was gonna say that what you would do in Rondo if when you use the falling rocks attack is use an item crash, use the holy water item crash to destroy all the rocks, but that's not an option here. So here we are in normal level 4. I barely talked about alternate 4 because alternate 4 is extremely easy. The only thing about alternate 4 that's tricky is that there are some very specific jumps, or like jumps where you have to be on the very edge of something, but none of the jumps are insta-kill jumps, so it doesn't really matter. And then the boss at the end of alternate 4 is, of course, the easiest boss in the game. But regular 4 has a few sections that are trickier, and that are specifically tricky if you come in here without any sub-weapon. Because the game will basically put you in a situation where you really would like to have a sub-weapon, but you can't have one. This one is actually not one of them. This one, there's a solution, where it's just doing what I did, which is jumping up when the turrets aren't firing, and then ducking as soon as you get up there and killing the bone thrower. What's interesting about the key is that I've read somewhere that the key can actually like damage things. If you hit the item crash button, with the key, it will actually do like an attack where like he hits somebody with the key and it does like 1,000,000 damage. And I don't know if that's a joke or like an intended mechanic or what, but I never found a reason to do it. Like I didn't do it against. Okay, this is the spot that I'm talking about. This is like the worst part of this entire route because there's no like good. Okay, so what the game I think wants you to do is it wants you to jump over the red knight. Okay, there. That was good, but so I did ultimately figure it out, but I still ended up getting hit. I think what the game wants you to do there, generally speaking, is jump over the red knight by using the spike thing. The problem is that like when the knight is vulnerable, like when he's not throwing axes, when he's like in place, like a bat is about to spawn. So if you try to jump over the knight, you're going to jump into a bat. And there I basically didn't have a choice but to take damage from something, either from like his axes or from the bat coming at me. And there I ended up getting hit by the axe. Yeah, this part sucks too, because you have enemies that that are best dealt with when you have lots of horizontal space. You have to fight them on tiny platforms on an elevator. Yeah, no voice acting. This is an SNES game. It's not a PC Engine game, so Maria has shorter hair here. I don't know why they changed that about her. I guess just make her simpler. And also, what's nice about this actually though is that Maria does heal you to full. So it's like you have to do the Dullahan fight without any sub-weapon, but you do get a nice full heal at this point in the level, which you were gonna fucking need if you're gonna do that part with the spikes and the red knight without a sub-weapon. Yeah, this is just shit. This is what you're supposed to do, is just ignore these guys. Don't even bother trying to fight them. Just get past them. And if I was going for the best ending, I would not have picked up the dagger there. I'd have to keep Maria's key all the way to the end of this level, What's interesting about this game, this is some fucking shit right here. I thought for sure I was gonna die. Like, this is so annoying. Like, there's nothing. This is another great example of like I don't know what I could have done there because you can't. Like, I was trying because you think like, okay, jump at the Igor to hit him, but you can't jump. There's a skeleton there, and if you try to go down on the spike platform to hit the skeleton to knock him out, the Igor jumps forward and hits you off the spike platform. So it's like, what do you fucking do? You have to like wait for the Igor's dumb little like behavior pattern to make him jump, and then try to like hit him with a dagger pot shot. It's so obnoxious. Yeah, here I was actually sure I was gonna die. Somehow I don't, although I don't know how. How the fuck do I not die here? Okay, yeah, this is what I remember doing to the Minotaur, is spamming axes at him. And if you can get a certain distance from the Minotaur and just start spamming axes, he doesn't seem to know how to handle it, because his big halberd there blocks most sub-weapons, but, yeah, it doesn't seem to be able to handle the axe. And the axe does a million damage in Dracula X and Rondo, so he just kind of dies. I don't know. That's practically like Grim Reaper Castlevania 1 tier in terms of a sub-weapon completely cheesing a boss, meaning you don't have to interact with it at all. Or like respond to any of its attacks. Which, I mean, I guess I should be grateful for, because if that was more of a real boss fight, I probably could have died there. Like, the Minotaur from Rondo is definitely more threatening than that, and I don't know what exactly changed. I guess there are times in Rondo where I've like bullied the Minotaur in a corner, but usually it manages to do something to get me off of it. I guess I've never spammed the axe at the Rondo Minotaur before though. Maybe that would work the same way. I don't know. What's interesting about the good ending, the like intermediate ending, the ending between the best and the bad ending, is that this is the only ending where you're gonna fight where you fight 7 bosses. Because in the bad ending, you skip the Doulahan, and then in the best ending, you skip the Minotaur. Just a little fun fact, I guess. This is an interesting Igor Gauntlet, because it plays slightly differently from all the other ones, where they're not like you have much more of a grace period before they're dropped on you. I don't know why exactly it's designed like that. I guess maybe they figured, like, dropping a bunch of Igors to chase after you when you can't move would be, I don't know, shitty, but that didn't stop them from doing a bunch of other shit that, like, fucks you over for your slow movement speed. So I don't know. I do not know. I got all those hearts. Yeah, the axe really makes this game a lot more manageable if you can hold on to it. These fucking things. I hate this shit, man. I hate these things, like... Or I hate this room in particular, and like the rooms that involve multiples of these guys, because fighting one of them is difficult but possible, but trying to fight like more than one at the same time, like trying to fight one that's in front of you while his buddies are like just like stabbing you from below, is fucking impossible, because the way that you have to fight those guys is like a very deliberate sequence of movements where you have to get to like this sweet spot where you can hit them, then back away again. So like you don't have a choice about like different positions you can be in if you're trying to fight one of those guys. So you have to be in a specific spot at a specific time, but then there are other dudes below you who are trying to hit you in that specific spot. So like you don't have a choice but to get hit practically. Unless you can like bait the guy who's trying to hit you from above or below like further away, which is what you kind of have to do there, but it's so annoying. And I mean, and like it's not like you can get out of the way very quickly, right? Because you can't move. Like it's just gonna keep coming up. Because moving is something you are doing literally every second of every minute you spend playing this game. Why am I going over here? Oh, I'm getting hearts. Okay. Right? I think that's what I'm surprised that I did that. Usually I barely cleared that sword swing there from the knight. I think what's meant to be a balancing factor with that meat being down there and the candle being renewable, is that the green knights can also hit you through the wall. So I think the idea is like, oh, you can go for the meat there, but like you have to worry about the knights hitting you. I think that's supposed to be like the balancing factor. Yeah, see, this is how you're supposed to be able to fight these guys, is by walking across a long horizontal range. You can't fight those things on a platform. Like you just can't do it unless you get lucky and you can like hit them as they're like swinging up past you a couple times. This part is actually also like trying to kill this bird is well, it's easy with the axe, but trying to kill the bird without the axe is almost impossible because he's gonna like activate around the time you reach those stairs, and he's gonna like be around those stairs. And if you try to jump, if you try to like sub-weapon him like with the dagger or with like the cross or something, you'll fucking climb the stairs. It's like Castlevania 3 all over again. I guess I could be axing this guy, but I'm not doing that because I want to save my hearts. Not not necessarily for the boss at the end of the level, although the boss at the end of the level is important. Okay, this is okay. There we go. Yeah, that's the one thing about Rondo, like dropping sub weapons when you swap them out that can sometimes get annoying. Is that if you're on like a tiny platform, you'll end up picking up the same sub weapon over and over again. But yeah, I don't want all these hearts for the boss. Although having lots of hearts and having a good sub weapon available for the boss is important. What I really want a sub weapon for is for the next level, because the first stage of the next level is like a gigantic danger area that is really mitigated by the axe and by having a lot of hearts to use it with the axe. And this is also like I talked about the boss fights in this game being more like Super Castlevania 4, where this is kind of what I'm talking about, where you just want to kill these things as fast as possible. I don't know how I didn't get hit there. I guess if he's taking damage, he like passes right through you. And that is actually a no damage werewolf fight, except I'm not going to get the no damage bonus because that death attack that he does there at the end is practically impossible to dodge. I don't know how you would avoid getting hit by that. But otherwise, that was a really good werewolf fight, and that's kind of like how you have to play it, because you can't really dodge him, because you can't move, you just have to keep hitting him over and over again. And just kill him as fast as possible in the hope that you avoid the few attacks that he does get out before he dies. Um, and in that sense, he's actually not that different from the Rondo Werewolf, although with the Rondo Werewolf, you do feel like, although he's also a lot more calm than the Rondo Werewolf, he doesn't like spaz out as much, which is like the one element that I can think of where they like altered the boss design to accommodate your wheelchair, the wheelchair that Richter now resides in. So yeah, so this first stage here is like it's reminiscent of Castlevania 3, which is why it's amusing to me that they're playing the Castlevania 3 music. There are two problems with this room. The problems involve the stairs. The problems are that the turrets will shoot like arcing fireballs at you that you can't see until they hit you, and the second problem is that the birds will dive bomb you, and you can't, and you have this very limited range of motion because you're on the stairs. Like I said, it's like Castlevania 3 again. It's like it's kind of like 9-2, but less high octane. And these fucking birds. Okay, there. Yeah, I just item crash. That's funny. Yeah, another reason why this room is important is because I am only going to have one meet between the start of this level and the boss at the end, so I want to avoid damage as much as I possibly can. I think I said in my last video there's a meet in this room, but it involves going over to the right and jumping across more floating rocks and triggering like bat spawns that go across the side of the screen, so fuck that every day of the week. Not worth it. Not worth it. Never worth it. And there's a moment here that's extremely frustrating, but I don't know if I was coherent enough to actually like explain why it's bad in the last video, so I'll get a chance to explain it here. It involves the second spear guy up here, where if he's in a position like this, you can just throw the axe from underneath him and kill him. But if he's over on the right, like if he's aggressive, if he's following you as you move and he's over on the right, you like can't do anything, because he'll just like camp the top of the stairs, and you can't like hit him, and you can't like stay on the stairs and wait for his behavior to change because there are bats spawning. So you just have to like, I don't know. And if you fall back down again to wait for his behavior to change, you can't fucking see him. so you can't like see when he's moved away again. And this part also sucks because you will have situations like that where like if the bats are spawning on a bad timing, you'll be in a situation where the only time you can jump on the platform is when a bat is literally in the process of spawning. So if you try to jump on the platform, you will jump into a bat. Like, I've died there before because I just couldn't get on the platform, because whenever the platform was in a position that I could jump on it, there was a fucking bat there. Like, I don't know, man. That shit is, like, ridiculous. And you know me, I'm not averse to challenge, but that's just like literally a situation with no correct solution. The correct solution is just get lucky and trigger the bat spawns at like a good timing so that they don't synchronize with the platform being accessible. Like that's the solution. Is enter the range at which they start spawning at like the right time, based on like the position of a platform you can't even fucking see at the start of the room. This part is actually more interesting, where what you're supposed to do here is you're supposed to walk on the gear when the Medusa head is at its low point in that arc, and the gear will just carry you across super fast and get you onto that platform. So you just have to like remember that there's a gear there that's gonna move you across like super quickly. And don't like you don't have time really to hang out on that gear and try to get on the platform because the Medusa heads are gonna keep spawning. And because you can't, because like you're getting like moved around, you're just gonna get hit by them. You're not gonna be able to like dodge them or intercept them effectively when you can't control how you move. And yeah, this is another example of a damage rush boss where it's like you can't dodge anything because you can't move, so you just have to hit it until it dies. I think I already said that in my bad ending video, but I'm just gonna mention it again. With the shaft fight, there's set solutions for all of the things the orbs can do. The only one, and like even the lightning orb, although the lightning orb is extremely difficult to dodge. There is sort of like an idea of what the developers wanted you to do when he had his lightning orbs activated, but there it's like what the fuck are you gonna do about anything that ever happens to you in this game? Like, how are you gonna react? Are you gonna dodge? No, you can't dodge because you can't move. Because you got cement in your loafers, buddy. That's just how it is. And level 7 is exactly the same in this ending as it is in the previous ones, so I'm going to spend the next 7 minutes sitting in complete and total silence. Just kidding. I want to point out the purple mountains in the background. The mountains are purple again. I also want to point out, well, I guess I'll leave it alone for now because it's off the screen and you're not going to know what I'm talking about. I mentioned, I think, deliriously in my last video that I do kind of like the way that 7 is designed, but I don't know if I exactly made it clear like how it works, where level 7 is basically like a closed loop that you can keep going through over and over again. Because you can re-enter the room with the meat and the bone dragon, and then you can re-enter this room over and over again, and then you can and the purpose and the consequence of being able to re-enter this room over and over again is that you keep getting the meat over and over again. So you have actually an infinite source of health, and there are there are death pits in this level, but I mean there are death pits on Dracula, and there's a death pit coming up here at the start of this room, but it's really hard to fall in there. Like, I think I have done it before once, but generally speaking, you're like not gonna fall into that pit. It's just not gonna happen. And what that meat with the bone dragon basically lets you do is it lets you retry this part over and over and over again until you can get through it taking as little damage as possible, because there's no health restore before Dracula. This isn't Super Castlevania 4, where there's like a secret invisible platform to refill your health. This isn't Rondo of Blood, where Dracula just is an entire level. No, it's about you want to get to Dracula with as much health as you possibly can, and that means doing this entire level. If you're planning never to die, obviously Dracula does have his own checkpoint, but if your plan is to not die, then you do have to get through the whole level with as much health as you possibly can, and that's what that element of level 7 sort of lets you do. It's sort of like a it's kind of giving you a break at the very end of the game by giving you um, infinite like chances um, to do that part correctly. And there's no level timer, so it's not like if you do it too much you can run out of time. I also don't know if I properly explained my strategy for this boss. My strategy is to sit here. Um, if he goes to any one of the 5 pillars that are currently visible on the screen, I will try to hit him by either jumping down there for that guy, or for the ones that are like if he teleports right on top of me. Okay, let me go pillar by pillar. If he teleports over there, I do that. If he teleports on the first pillar on the left, I jump in the middle, I throw axes at him. If he teleports on the second pillar, I jump away to the fourth pillar, throw an axe, duck. Teleports on the third pillar, the pillar that I'm on, I jump away, crouch, throw an axe at him. If he teleports onto the fourth pillar, I jump to the second pillar and throw an axe when I'm over there, and then I jump over whatever attack he does. If he jumps on the fifth pillar, I jump down to the fourth pillar and then throw axes up at him as he attacks. That's my strategy. And the reason why this strategy works is because if you crouch on the fourth pillar, and Dracula doesn't teleport literally onto that pillar, he can never hit you with anything. What that means is that the fourth pillar is a permanent safe zone, no matter what Dracula is doing. That's super important because the fact that Dracula can teleport off screen, but his attacks can still hit you from off screen, means that if you're camping in one spot, which is what you should be doing, because every jump you make across these pillars is another risk of you dying, then you will have to deal with attacks coming at you from off screen, like right there. I know, and I can duck on this third pillar to avoid the fireball, but if he does the magma ball, I can't. If he does the magma ball from off screen, I can get hit there. But the thing is that because the magma ball is on like a set schedule, where it's like every 5th attack is the magma ball attack, I know that when the 5th attack is coming, so when I know it's the 5th attack, I just jump down onto that fourth pillar and crouch. So I just have to keep track. I just have to keep track of how many times he's attacked, and then when he does it. And you can keep track of that even if you can't see him by just listening for when he's laughing. When I'm on that and then my strategy for this guy is just to spam axes and keep towards the middle of the pillar so I don't get knocked off. That almost made me shit my pants, because this was right at the end of a Deathless run on the good ending, and I really didn't want to die. But fortunately, Richter managed to land by the heel of his left foot onto that platform, which is actually kind of an indicator of how forgiving the platforming really is. Usually the way that you get fucked up by platforming in this game is like you'll overshoot platforms. Like you'll try to jump on one and then you'll land like into a gap between that platform and a different one, or you'll like accidentally walk off the edge of things. Which I guess the slow movement speed makes easier to not do, because you have more freedom to really Dracula's neck is too long in that image. I just want to point that out. I also don't know why it zooms in on his mouth, because I thought it would like cut to his mouth making like a sinister smile, but instead it's just like his mouth and he's just frowning. So I don't know. And here we are, the good ending, the sad ending, where Maria is rescued, but Annette unfortunately was killed by a giant skull on top of a clock tower. Very sad, very unfortunate, but that's how these things go sometimes. Hopefully I was able to give some more insight. This game is like, I don't feel as much of a need to coddle it as I do for 4, partially because I know that this game is not beloved in the way that 4 is. I know there's lots of people that there's not like an auxiliary of defenders for this game, really. I mean, maybe there are, but it's not as numerous as 4. And also because this game specifically bothers me in a way that 4 doesn't, where 4 is unique. 4 feels like its own thing. The fact that this is like a weird mutation of Rondo of Blood makes it especially annoying to me, where it's like I'm constantly being reminded every second that I play this game of a better game that I've already played, of a great game, of like one of my favorite games that I've already played, and like every second that I spend playing this game just makes me wish I was playing Rondo. And a lot of the design decisions are sort of specifically annoying, so it bothers me more than 4 does, and I'm sort of compelled to constantly compare it to Rondo. So I don't know. I guess my experience of this game would probably be completely different if I'd never played Rondo, and I'm trying to evaluate it in isolation, but that's just very difficult to do. And there are a few things about this game that I do like, um, but I have more trouble isolating them because I'm constantly thinking about Rondo. That makes it difficult. Anyway, I still have one more commentary to do. I'll try to be more positive in that one. Keep your eyes peeled for it. Remember that Christ died for your sins and that he defeated Dracula in